Hi, it's Beverleigh here over at Crafty Chaos. I hope you're all feeling very well. I'm looking forward to this next instalment on my embellishment series, which is the useful frames. Okay, now that you've seen what we're trying to achieve, let's get started. So I'm in Brother Canvas Workspace and I am just showing you the shapes that I've selected. The scalloped oval, a circle and a flower that I made in a previous tutorial in embellishment series part 1. So now I'm going to deal with the flower. First of all, I'm going to rotate it by 90 degrees and then I'm going to click off, increase the size a little bit so that you can see what's happening a little bit clearer. Okay, oops, I think I've just undone that by accident. So like I said, let's get it to a size we can see. Make sure we're on the select tool, select it, and we're going to duplicate it because we might need another copy later. Okay, so I'm going to move that off to the side. I'm going to click on and create an offset, and I'm going to do an inward offset, and I'm going to do quite a wide one because this is going to be a frame. So I think I went for about between 0.28 0.3 inches, and there you can see, but that's separate from the inner. So I'm going to select both and then do edit, process overlap and divide. Okay, so now flood it with colour and you can see we've got a frame. It's that simple. Then you add a batting layer, go on to create an offset, this time go outwards, and that will bring us a matting layer. And if I change the colour, you can see that one fits perfectly on top of the other. So that's one way of doing it. Another way is if you wanted a rounded inside, we could select another oval, I'm going to rotate it by 90 degrees, make it smaller so that it fits inside my scalloped rectangle, leaving a nice border. I'm then going to select both, go edit and centre on the vertical and central on the horizontal axes. Then I'm going to go to edit, process overlap and subtract. Then I'm going to click on it, put some colour in so you can see what that's happened. It's effectively punched that hole out of the centre. So again, that's created as a frame. Secondly, what we could do is add another matting layer, by this time creating a smaller offset outward. That makes a perfect offset for the shape. Send it to the back, change the colour so it shows up nicely on the screen, and you can see you get that perfect matting layer. So we're going to move that off to the side, but I'm going to want to get the frame part for use elsewhere, so I'm going to make a duplicate, move it to the side, and then I'm going to end up moving those two away, keeping the one separate and moving those over for what we've made already with my shape off to the right. Get them out of the way, bring this one up where you can see. And what I'm going to do now is make a little bezel for the top so that we could hang something, or hang it from a page, or hang it from the centre of an aperture or something similar. So I'm just creating two smaller circles, one smaller than the other. So I've got one a little bit bigger and one smaller, and I'm just doing this by eye. Edit centre, edit horizontal, vertical. Check that the little one's on top, and it's not, so I'm sending the big one to the back, checking that the little one's now on top, edit, and then I'm going to subtract. I'm going to line that up with the top of my frame, just on the vertical axis, and then edit and weld. That's given us the bezel at the top that we could suspend something off. Just give that some colour and you can see that's what where we're up to now. Again, creating a matting layer, so create an offset, make it a small offset, outward, send to the back, change the colour so you can see it on the screen, and you can see that's a perfect matting layer for that frame. But I'm just going to move just the matting layer to the side and I'm going to work with the flower. I'm going to click D 3 times on my keyboard to get 3 copies, and I'm going to adjust the size of them. Because what I'm going to do is effectively place them and position them within the scalloped oval bezel shape frame, and so that they are overlapping, so that they are almost creating like an embellished, floral embellished drop embellishment for a card or a scrapbook page. So I'm just adjusting the sizes, moving around till I'm happy with their position by eye. This is all a matter of preference where you'd like them to be, but the important thing here is that they're all actually at the edges overlapping with the frame and overlapping with each other. We go edit and weld. Now, if you see any problematic areas, like I'm going to show you here when I zoom in, if I zoom in, you can see that there's just a little tiny spot there that the machine would try to cut, so we're going to deal with that. So I'm going to zoom right in so you can see what I'm doing, and there you can see it. I'm going to click on the select tool, double click on the area, and then drag a box just round those nodes, and then go to the minus node icon bit there. That will remove just those nodes. And if I go up, there was another little area that needed to be dealt with up here, so do the same thing, drag a box around the nodes, and then click on the minus sign. That will remove those, so your machine will no longer try to cut those really tiny little areas out. And then we've got that shape. Now, at this point, I decided it might be a nice idea to have some flowers matted on. So if you do this, I suggest you do it before you do your welding. So I've just gone backwards so that I can select the flowers and duplicate them, so I've got some matting layers should I desire. Just put them to the side. Then I'm going to re-weld it, and it'll just give me a chance to show you how to deal with those pesky nodes again, where you've got those little areas that you don't really want to try to put that strain on your blade, because it might take the end off if you're not careful. So click in so you can see them close up by clicking on the spyglass, and then clicking on the area. Click on your selection tool, double click to expose the nodes, drag a little box around the problem ones, and then click minus. Go to the other area that I had again, drag a box round and click minus. And that means then it's got a nice smooth shape to cut round, and it's going to put less strain on your blade. Now, one way of creating this would be to create an offset. However, be aware doing this, it might separate your petals and you might have to re-weld. But that's not an issue, you just drag in a circle, as I'll show you if it happens. So I've got that, and as you can see, it has actually separated the petals out again. So you could set them on if you wanted individually, but I'm a little bit too lazy to do that. So what I would actually do is grab myself a circle from my basic shapes, shrink it down so it covers the centre, and it's going to weld all those petals back together again. Just make sure that you've got a little bit of an overlap with each of the ends of the petals. Select them both, centre it horizontally and vertically, and then go edit to process the overlap and weld. And that will give us a matting layer that fits perfectly in the shape that you've just created on your frame. The other way you could do it is just to simply select one of your flowers and just make it ever so slightly smaller by dragging in from one of the corners. This is not going to fit it exactly now because you're not doing it in proportion to the rest of the flower, but it could be a nice look as well, because you could get some nice curl on those and curl them up. So that's two different ways that you can create the flowers. Okay, and then you could cut them in different colours of card and mat them on top of the actual frame itself. It would make a very pretty embellishment, particularly if you put a nice pearl or gemstone at the centre. Okay, so I'm going to go fit to mat. I'm going to spread out all the things that we've worked on so you can see what we've created. So remember the flower that I've used is one that we made in a tutorial for embellishment series part 1. Just look for it in my videos if you haven't watched it already. And so that's how you can make a simple frame. So I've used a scallop, but you could just as easily use any of the other shapes to create similar effects. Just follow the same steps but using a different shape. Well, I hope you've liked the video. If you have, please like, share and subscribe, and we will look forward to seeing you soon in Embellishment Series Part 5, and we make sure that you save your work. Bye for now. See you soon.